Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Xander.
Welcome to Supposedly. This is a video series where we're focusing on the myths and realities surrounding sustainable product development. And today we're going to talk about recycling.
We might all agree that keeping things out of the landfill is a great mission. Supposedly, keeping your waste out of the landfill by putting it in the recycling is the best way you can do that. But it's actually a little more complicated.
So did you know that we're actually only recycling maybe 10 to 20% of the materials that we're capturing?
And that products that we buy that claim they have recycled content may have similarly low numbers.
And so we need to supplement that recycled content with more virgin plastic. That's new plastic where we're having to go use petroleum to make a new product again.
And to help us understand how recycling fits into the status quo of a cradle-to-grave waste stream, let's zoom out and think about the entire process.
So today we're having to mine material or take petroleum, refine it, melt it down, pelletize it, and then injection mold new products, which we then take and we use. And when we're done using them, we normally just throw them in the landfill. So recycling is a way to recapture some of that content.
And the way that recycling really has a benefit there is that by avoiding the landfill, we're able to remove the extraction process. So new petroleum doesn't have to be used in the future because we can recycle this plastic. The problem there is that we do have to incur all energy costs and logistic transportation costs of bringing that recycled plastic back to a product again.
For one thing, we have to sort through all this stuff and find the useful material. And we have these number codes that allow us to help identify like materials, but not everything is really recyclable.
For instance, codes number 1 and 2 might correspond to what you might be familiar as single-use water bottle or a milk jug. These are super common materials that any recycler in the United States is seeing tons of. So it's very easy for them to say, yep, we recycle number 1, we recycle number 2, but numbers 3 through 7 are much less common. For instance, PVC.
And PVC contains chlorine, which is toxic. And it also comes in lots of different forms. There's soft PVC, hard PVC. They're not alike, so we don't really know what we're working with. And it's hard to make a new product out of that material again. So what if we didn't have to use any virgin plastic ever again?
At Ronin, this is something we're thinking about and trying to apply in our work today. Some of the things that surprised us when we first started doing this was how hard it is actually to find good sources of recycled material.
And once we find that recycled material, is it really good enough to make into a product, or do we have to add certain elements to it to make it perform the way we want? So what if the manufacturer could help us out and help to purify our waste stream by collecting their products back so that then now they know what they've got and they can use it to make more products?
It really leads to a future where we might actually be able to eliminate recycling altogether.
So one way we can do that is to design our products to be more repairable so that we can extend the life of our products before we look to recycling or landfill as a solution.
And that repair can happen back at a manufacturer who's taking their product back to refurbish it.
There's one company called Loop who is actually packaging our consumables into, instead of single-use packages, these are reusable packages and containers that they collect back when we're done.
In future episodes, we're going to look at some of these ideas that actually transcend what recycling is capable of, which already has a big impact, but it does leave a lot to be desired. And in the next episodes, we're going to look at some of these more aspirational ways of building circularity into how we design our products and how we distribute them.
So these are some of the things that we're asking ourselves at Ronin.
Top of mind is let's actually design for end of life. Let's think about whether a part is going to go to the landfill or whether it can be recycled.
And let's also think about not using things like paint or adhesives to stick things together and render our materials less useful afterwards. Let's instead design for more pure materials like clear, white plastics, things that don't have paint. And these preserve the quality of those materials through this whole process.
And what we're starting to think about is actually our input to the entire recycling ecosystem, both in looking for available materials that we can use, that we can count on as being inputs to our designs, but also what's going to happen to our designs as they go into waste. And are there opportunities for us to design things with parts that are made from materials that are the most recyclable possible because they can be separated and because they're made from desirable types of plastic. what are some of the main ways that anyone can put some of these things into practice?
Well, the first thing that we can do is refrain from buying new stuff right away. Don't impulse buy. Think for a moment, do I really need that? And if you think you do really need it, probe a little more deeply. What are these products made out of? Do they contain things that render them less recyclable?
One of the ironies there is maybe something's recyclable, but maybe it won't last as long. I'm not saying that's the case, but if it were, it might be more valuable to actually buy something that would last a longer period of time. In addition, we look a lot at these recycling codes and how important it is to know what's actually recyclable in your area.
Think about purchases as a long-term investment, not buying the cheap things that are going to last just a short period of time, but really buying things as heirlooms to hand down to future generations. So as we're bombarded with all these advertisements, pausing to say, would I have bought this had I not seen this advertisement?
We like to introduce a healthy bit of skepticism not only into our own work, but into our habits as consumers, and encourage you to do the same. Think, supposedly this is made from recycled content. How much?
So please leave your comments to share with us your experiences with recycling. How can we recycle more effectively? And we'll share some information with you about the recycling process.
Stay tuned for the next episodes.
Bye.